Hi everyone. I'm just waiting for Chloe to come on because she needs to plug in her phone before she can come in. Where all my words just went. But I'm very excited to have everyone here. I'll just do a little 1 minute wait for one, Chloe sharp, obviously, and two, everyone to get in. So excited to have so many people here. This is very good. And I hope you're having a lovely start to the new year. You'll be blown away by this. Genuinely, it's very good, if I do say so myself. Happy New Year. Does anyone have audio? Sometimes that happens and I think you have to leave and come back. But if people can't hear me, let me know. No audio until they start. Will we have? You should be able to hear audio. This is worrying me. Right, can nobody... Elizabeth, can you see me? Maybe there's a delay in this. I can see her talking, but I can't hear anything. I have audio. Mine was automatically muted. Right, make sure it's unmuted. See, this is why it's good that we've just got a little 2-minute ready to go. Okay, right, you just have to unmute it, guys, which won't help because I'm talking and you can't hear me. I can see you. Right, okay, perfect, Jane. Okay, excellent. If you've already signed up to the EC method, oh wait, here's Chloe.
Hi,
babe.
I didn't realize I needed an app to do this. I had to download
Yeah,
the
sorry. I did give Chloe about 3 minutes notice.
Hi guys. Hi, nice to see you. Welcome to our webinar. I hope you realize how calm and relaxed this whole thing is.
It is. Everything's... do you know what? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Everyone
obviously.
now
Look
says
at
that
it. We're vibing.
it's all working for them. They can hear us, they can see us, they can see the presentation.
Oh, good.
So I think we're basically ready to start, babe.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. So hi everybody and welcome to our webinar. And the kind of the point of this webinar is to get both pre-existing clients, of which we have a few hundred already signed up, potential new clients, and actually new clients who've never done the EC method before, kind of prepped as to what the EC method is in terms of the coaching and how the January round is going to be a bit different, which it is. We kind of have a different approach in January, and there's real reasons why, and there's actual data in terms of numbers, and then there's anecdotal reasons in terms of Emma and my experience as coaches. We've been coaching now for a combined total of like 27, 28 years. And we've been coaching together for 5 years in March. And we've kind of learned quite a lot with not only our kind of qualifications, but also our experience. And we wanted to have a bit of fun in the January round and take a risk and apply what we know to be true, but for the first time, actually coach that way. It's not a very popular way of coaching. It's fair to say that it is a short-term way of coaching, absolutely, not medium-term, let alone long-term, no. But it's a short-term way of coaching that both of us have found in isolated experiences has had the most amazing impact on our clients psychologically and physiologically. So we've got a whole new approach in January, and we're really, really excited. And for anyone who's coming back, yes, you're still going to get your gym workouts, your home workouts, your kind of step count coaching, your nutritional coaching, but we are going to have a little bit of a twist on this. Emma.
Yeah, I'm not going to give too much away. Like, one, we're so excited to have you all here. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions about anything, especially about joining the EC method, and I know I've had a lot of conversations with people over the last week or so who are just a little bit apprehensive. And because we're bringing in something new, they're a bit like, oh, what is this going to be? So Chloe's largely come up with this. So I'm going to let her speak about the exacts of what it is. But a lot of this is to do with our coaching style and how we like to work. And hey, like, is it right for everyone? No, but we're not trying to be right for everyone. We're trying to be right for a certain group of people. And if you listen to this and you resonate with it and you're like, yes, I want to push myself, I want to capitalize on the motivation I've got at the start of the year, I'm not going to put my goals on hold, I don't want to be average, I want to get results this year, then this is for you. And Chloe kind of alluded to this, and I know she's going to talk about it in more depth, but sometimes taking a bit of a harder approach. Like, it's not a long term approach. You probably can't do it all the time, but the truth is you can do it sometimes. And just because, like, I think we both disagree with the saying that a lot of coaches say, which is well-meaning, of like, if you can't stick to it long term, there's no point doing it. But it's like, well, you don't have to do everything all the time, right? Like, you can use the motivation that you've got at this time of year, which is why we have like a phase 1 to this and then a phase 2 to this. So without further ado, I will let Chloe start with this.
I love what you just said as well, by the way. Just, you can't maintain anything 100% of the time, like literally nothing. I can't be a great mother to my daughter 100% of the time, as all parents know, but I try my best as much as I can, and that applies to everything, whether you have a great day at work and you show up your best self, or whether you're merely just trying to get through it. Like, it's the same with everything. So I agree with Emma, that whole ethos of, if you can't maintain it forever, there's no point. It's like, that's not true. And I don't want to digress too much, but we do have something that we call a row sail approach, which really buys into that methodology of, like, sometimes you row and sometimes you sail, and that's life. But I won't digress to that. Let's move on to the January round. So we all know the statistic, or most of us who are interested in health and fitness or diet and exercise have heard it. 95% of diets fail. And this metric is based on the idea that dieters regain the weight that they've lost within 1 to 5 years after said diet. And of course, we all know, anyone with kind of a brain in their head knows the obvious culprit of this. And the reason why this happens is because it's a very restrictive diet or a very kind of punishing exercise routine. And as I just said, with the row sail approach, nobody, not even Emma and I, can maintain that year round. What the research also shows is that the main reason, and this is the caveat that isn't really talked about that much, the main reason that people, quote unquote, fall off the wagon within 1 to 5 years is usually because they either go on holiday, and I'm sure we all know, you go on holiday, you come away from your diet, you come back, and it takes you weeks, if not months, to get back on track again, right? And because of holiday periods like Christmas and New Year, and Emma and I have talked about this before, Christmas doesn't start on the 24th. People are gearing up for Christmas from the end of November, and they go all the way to the end of January in this kind of fuck it bucket mentality. And in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you think that that's like 3 months of the year, that's quite extreme. That's not necessarily what I would call enjoying Christmas and New Year and then getting back to it. And this, by and large, is the reason that 95% of diets fail. And the main issue that we see is not that people gain some weight and then struggle a little bit to get it off and then get it off. It's actually that most people, the vast majority of that 95%, never lose that again. And so now we come into the Christmas and New Year period. Emma.
Okay, so as most people probably know, most New Year's resolutions fail, but these are the actual stats of it. Now, people argue about these stats, but I'm not going to bother arguing about them. The vast majority of New Year's resolutions don't work, right? And one of the reasons for that is that we tend to set these really, really high goals that we don't even know are achievable, or we've seen in a magazine that you can lose 2 pounds a week, or MyFitnessPal has said this, so that means equates to this, and you don't hit these goals. But we want you to be in the 9% of people who actually stick to their New Year's resolutions, right? Who set sensible goals, who set action-orientated goals as opposed to outcome goals, like focus on what you can control, not what you can't, and actually achieve these things. And the reason that a lot of people get put off by these stats, like, that's quite disheartening to read. If you're coming into the new year and you're like, I'm going to set myself a New Year's resolution, and then someone's like, well, 91% of New Year's resolutions people don't meet them. It's actually not that hard to be in the 9%, because average people do almost nothing, right? And the fact that you're even here and you're giving up a Thursday night to be here, like, you're not average. And when you look at the average stats, like, you don't want to be average, right? Most people gain weight as they age. Most people lose muscle as they age. Most people, as Chloe's just shown, like, regain the weight that they lose when they do lose weight. And as this stat shows, the vast majority of people don't achieve their New Year's resolutions. But you don't have to be most people. And with us backing you, you're not going to be most people, which is exactly why you're here, right? You're not average. You don't behave like the average person. So you're not going to end up like those average stats. So when you see these things, we don't want you to be disheartened by them, right? And in order to do that, you need to be the kind of person that doesn't put their goals on hold. They don't wait for this like mythical perfect time to start. And Chloe's about to explain like the way that you can start 2025 in the best way possible and kind of capitalize on that motivation that you've got, which is like a nice fresh start in the new year, right? Like this is why so many people set New Year's resolutions, because it does feel somewhat monumentous. I've definitely felt like quite reflective over the last week of like, what do I want to leave in last year? What do I want to take into this year? What are my intentions going forward? What goals do I have? Like, what do I need my life to look like in order to achieve those goals? And my motivation is significantly higher than it would be at other points of the year. And there's no point setting, which a lot of people do, I guess, kind of just to go back to what I was saying before about like coaches that are well-meaning and maybe set like quite easy targets. Like they're not exciting. They're not capitalizing on your motivation. Like we want to push you hard for this bit to kind of break your own glass ceilings and allow you to see what you're capable of. And so we've kind of gone over this one. Do you want to go back over it again?
No, I just want to touch on the fact that I think the majority of our clients, when we start coaching them, obviously we start at ground zero and we build as we go. And anyone who's heard our EC Method New Year podcast will have heard us talk about this already. So I'll just really quickly touch on it. Typically, we kind of like progressive overload them in every context as the weeks pass when it comes to their approach to diet and control over diet and kind of when to row, when to sail, when it comes to their workouts per week, their non-exercise activity like steps or whatever. The goal of a coach is to kind of start them where they are, kind of give them non-negotiable targets and to like build on it. And that's what Emma and I do as coaches. And I think once our clients really get into the swing of it, which can take a few weeks, like it doesn't necessarily happen in a day or two, it can take a few weeks, they get into the swing of it and really they go from strength to strength. I think both on our one-to-one rounds and also on the EC method, which is group coaching, I would say the majority of our clients, I'd say 80% are return, because they realize that after a few weeks, after a few months, they're miles away from where they were. They get the results and shock horror, for the first time ever, they keep the results. So they keep coming back. And this is by and large what we see happening because we don't encourage restrictive dieting, because we don't encourage punishing workout regimes, because we have this very balanced approach of what's your real life. Here are the non-negotiables to be healthy, to be fit, to be strong, to get the physique results you want. This is what you kind of have to do, but you don't have to go crazy with it. You know, you're not an Olympian. You're not getting on stage in a bikini being judged on how much muscle mass and body fat you have. So how do we make it work for you? And what we see happen is that these clients just go from strength to strength to strength. And that is, to be honest, what we've experienced as coaches because of our approach. But when we do see them kind of come unstuck and struggle, and we do have to kind of start up that momentum again and start that wheel going again, is when they go on holiday and is after times like this. And so this is why we've come up with an entirely kind of new approach to our January round, which I'm ready to talk about right now. But before I quickly go into that, Emma, do you just want to touch on the fresh start approach, the statistics behind that and capitalizing on that before we go into January and our coaching approach now?
Yes. So there is this huge benefit to pushing yourself, to building some discipline, to setting goals that actually excite you and scare you a little bit. And I know that people heard that on the podcast and kind of really resonated with it and were like, oh, I'm a little bit scared. I'm like, that's exactly how we want you to feel coming into this. That's exactly how I feel going into most of my gym workouts, is I'm like, I'm a little bit scared of this. Like, and you should be, right? That's pushing yourself. That's exciting. You're not going to grow inside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And if you're worried that you won't manage this, because I know that there are some people who are like, oh, this sounds a bit hard now, I'm not sure about it. Pushing yourself is relative, right? So it might be that you're pushing yourself to try and get 6,000 steps a day. Someone else might be pushing themselves to try and get 12,000 steps a day. It might be that you're like, I'm going to commit to 5 workouts a week, but someone else might be, for you, it might just be like to do 2 workouts a week. The point is that you push yourself from where you are, not that you compare yourself to others, right? And actually, we're both far more impressed by the person who does their first workout than the person who does their 5th. But right, like, so it's not about where you're starting. It's not about comparing yourself to others. It takes way more courage to go into the gym for the first time and do your first workout than it does for like Jenny, who's already doing 4 workouts a week, to be like, oh, I'm going to do 5. Like, that's great as well. But like, don't be disheartened if you're like, oh, this is all going to be relative. This is all going to be pushing you from where you are just that little bit further outside your comfort zone, not anybody else's, right? So what we want you to match is that like effort. And that's what brings like the EC community together. Like, there are people in there that are like running their first marathons, and there are people that are like, I've gone for my first 1K walk, and people are as buzzing about each of them. Like, it's really not about the absolute of what you're doing, it's that everyone's trying, and that's what's contagious. And really what we want you to get from this first like phase one that Chloe's about to talk about is to break the glass ceilings of what you think is possible. You know, if you think, oh, I'm really pushing myself to get 8,000 steps, but then you're like, right, for these first 10 days I know I can get 12. Trust me, when you come back down to doing like 10,000 steps, it's easy, and you know that you can do it because now you trust yourself, you believe in yourself, you've proved to yourself that you can do that. And then what we're going to do after that phase one, because like we've kind of alluded to, that's maybe not maintainable long term, like you see it as a bit of a sprint of I'm going to push myself a bit and then I'm going to settle down into this. Then we're going to have a more maintenance phase, and that's not necessarily maintenance as in weight maintenance, but just like something that's more like sustainable long term. So this is really a kickstart to capitalize on the excitement and the motivation, and let's be honest, the extra calories that we've all probably consumed over Christmas. And the fact that, you know, like this is why it's a good time to do dry January as well, because, you know, you've drunk a lot and eaten a lot over Christmas. And actually part of you is like, I can't wait to get into a routine, to feel good about myself, to eat healthier, to sleep better, to not be hungover every other day. Like, makes a big difference. And also on this note, I found, Chloe, you might like this. I found a stat today that was like, on average, people save, what was it, £118 to 300 and something pounds a month doing dry January.
Oh yeah.
Which conveniently is more money than what you will spend joining the EC method. So
yeah,
there you go, really. Like, do dry January, and actually you're going to save money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take the payments away from Provence and put them in your own body, guys. I just want to touch quickly on something that Emma said that I really liked there at the beginning. I think there's this big misconception with people who work in health and fitness, like Emma and I, or anyone you follow on social media who does this, that like we're any different to someone who doesn't work in health and fitness or struggles to get to the gym or doesn't feel a bit nervous about squatting that day. Like, I don't think I've ever gone up to the squat rack and known that I had to squat and not felt really anxious and nervous about it. It's a really common feeling, but and we come kind of full circle to the kind of ethos that like it's really scary starting something new, but when you start, then you start to feel more motivated because you prove to yourself that you can do it, and you get a weird kind of buzz and a kick out of that. So a lot of people who haven't already started, they're like, I just can't get motivated. How can I get motivated? And it's like, start, because that feeling that I get when I go to squat, it's never gone away. Like it's still there every time. I'm about to put 60 kgs on my back and drop down, like, and have to stand up again several times in a row. It's quite intimidating, and it's quite like, ugh. Once you start doing it, the feeling that you get now that you're actually doing it, the self-belief, the capability that you feel, it ripples out into the rest of your life. And after a few days, weeks, months of doing this, there's very little. You still feel scared before you take on a new project. It never goes away. Like, you'll always feel scared before you go on a first date or you go into a room full of new people that you've never met before. It's never going to go away. But there is this like undertone in the back of your head that flips from being like, I don't think I can do this, to like, no, I know I'm scared, but I can definitely do this. I can do it, and I'm going to fucking do it. And then before you know it, you're doing it. And it metastasizes and it builds. And I always talk about training and mental health, the self-belief that you acquire from pushing yourself, especially in a physiological sense, and continuing to do so, is the best form of motivation you're going to get, and the best form of self-belief you're ever going to get. So I really like that. It's the same for Emma and I, it's for everyone. The only difference is that we forced ourselves to do it, and we forced ourselves to keep doing it, and that it could be the same for everyone. There's nothing different there. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, no, I think that like such a good point. And look, you're scared because it's new. You're scared because you're pushing yourself. You're scared. Like, it's good that you're scared. Like, even when you were talking about there, like, oh, you're always going to be a bit nervous on a first date, or like going for a new job, or doing, like doing a squat a weight that you've not done for a while, or you've never done before. But that's the whole point. Like, that's proof that you are pushing yourself and that you're fucking alive. Like, not to get too philosophical, but like, what is the point in life if you're not a little bit scared, nervous, excited about something that you're doing? Otherwise, it's just like every day, like, I'm completely capable of this. Like, I'm scared. Like, we're talking to over 300 people right now. Like, you should, if we're not a little bit nervous and a little bit scared, like, then we probably should be doing something else. Like, that's the whole point, is that you are pushing yourself a bit, and that you, like, we're scared because we care, right? Like,
yeah. But also, because you will grow from it. Like, not just physically will you change, mentally you'll change, and that's worth everything, in my opinion, as a completely insane person. So, okay, let's talk about this January round. Here we go. We're about to hit you with some actual coaching instead of shooting the shit. So get ready. So this is our January round. We're calling it Stick or Twist. Oh my God, I love it so much. So the reason we're calling it Stick or Twist is because we are going in with a little bit of a hard-hitting coaching approach. And basically the kind of the ethos behind it, the ideology behind it is, we start you where we start you on day one, and that will be specific to each of you, and I'll explain what that will look like in a minute. And then you are not allowed to go backwards. You either stick with what you achieved day one, or you twist, meaning you go up, you better it, you increase it. Even if it's a smidge, we don't care. The goal is that we do this for the first 10 days. We don't expect you to stick to a new diet when you're in an environment filled with wine, champagne, profiteroles, turkey sandwiches, quality street, max paprika crisps, the best crisps that ever lived. We do not expect you to stick to a diet when you're in that environment. We are going to go in hard from day one. We want it to be, as Emma said before, all relative to you and what you can achieve day one. And then all the way through to day 10, you stick or twist. You are not allowed to stop. You keep going. When you feel like, I could do a bit better there, I could do a few more steps, I could do a few more minutes, I could actually, instead of having 5 quality street today, maybe just have 2. We are doing stick or twist. So here's how it works. Let's go into a bit more detail. So we are going to have a series of non-negotiable boxes for everybody to tick. And the very first one, I have done this linearly because I am insane. The first one we want you guys to tick is a morning routine. Now, this can be anything at all that starts the day in line with your goals, that suits you and your morning. So examples include, and these are just obvious ones, but it might look different for all of you. It might include all of these. Who knows? A morning supplement routine. This is what I do. Supplements, coffee, that's my morning. And that, of course, sets you up for a nice health and fitness goal that morning. It could be a morning workout. It doesn't have to be at the gym. It can be at home. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 20 minutes in your living room. It doesn't have to be crazy. It is anything that will set you up in line with your health and fitness goals for that day. It could be a morning walk, just 10 minutes around the block. This is really nice, in my opinion, projecting as a London girl. For those of you who live in the countryside, especially at this time of year, it could be... It's so beautiful out there, guys, and it's going to snow this weekend. People use the snow as a reason not to go out and walk. I'm like, hello, what's a reason to get out and walk? For you yogis, of which we have many, I know that already from past rounds, it could be your morning meditation, or for you kind of, I don't know, what's the word, secret reading, kind of gratitude mindset clients, it could be morning journaling. It could be all of these, it could be some of these, it could be none of these, but something that's very specific for you. But it's to get up every morning and start the day with something that is in line with your goals. Emma, do you want to talk at all about a morning routine before I move on?
I think you've nailed it. I just think, just to reiterate, like, it really doesn't matter necessarily what you do. It's the fact that you are starting your day with one action. It might be tiny, in line with your goal, right? So some people get up and they do 10 push-ups, right? It literally will take them 30 seconds to do, but they've started their day with an action in line with their goal. Now, the real key here isn't the 20-minute walk or the push-ups or the 10-minute workout or the meditation or whatever. It's the fact that then your behaviors after that are more likely to be in line with that goal. Yeah. And it just makes such a big difference psychologically. Yeah. So starting your day with something like that just makes a huge, huge difference. So I'd set a little morning routine for yourself up. Something I normally do is, like, 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 leg raises. I do it twice while the kettle boils. Then I've done some movement, and then I sit down and I plan my day. Now, all of that, all in all, takes like 15 minutes, right? But even if you've got a kid that's running around, like you can put on the kettle and do like 10 press-ups.
Yeah, 100%.
And then
I often do it on the kitchen top while the kettle's boiling. It's easier. I'm waiting there anyway.
Wait, I'm sorry, actually on top of the kitchen?
No,
Oh, right, you mean like
like an incline.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what? It's easy. Most people can do it. You're waiting for no reason anyway. Right, so the next one is the obvious daily steps or non-exercise activities. So a few people will be like, well, I cycle to and from work. Does that count? Yes. We use step counts because it's a crude measure of activity day to day, but it's any non-exercise activity. So something that means you're active in the day, but you don't see as like a workout, okay? Now, this is daily. And it will change when we get to workouts, which we don't expect you guys to do every day because it's not great for your body, it's not great for your adaptation, and it's highly unrealistic. This is a non-negotiable. We want all of you to, quote unquote, get active, to be active. It's going to have huge implications for your health, your metabolic health, your fitness, your mental health. And it's also going to have huge implications re your physique results. You know, you are going to get just as good as physique results if your NEAT is nice and high. You know, obviously calories equal here, as you are lifting weights for half an hour in the gym 4 days a week. So it's really important that we do that, okay? By the way, I don't mean in terms of muscle mass, I mean in terms of overall body composition. So we want you to get active outside of targeted workouts. So if you track steps, we will ask you for a daily minimum of 8,000 a day. This can be done by basically getting up and moving around, going for a targeted walk, or doing some kind of 10 minutes of treadmill walking after your workout. Now, there is a caveat to this. As we say, we want this to be scalable for the client. So there'll be some of you who are like, whoa, I tracked my steps already and I hit nowhere near 8K a day. Oh, I can't do this. Fuck it. I give up before I've even started. No, no, you are not allowed to give up. If you find that day one, you track your steps and you hit 6K, don't feel like you failed. That's fine. That's your day one start point. Can we maintain that? As we say, this is stick or twist here. Can we maintain that for the next few days and aim to hit 7K? Most of you are going to be like, well, yeah, I hit 6K, I can do it again. You will probably find after 2 to 3 days that you're like, I did 6.5, tomorrow I can do 7. The goal is that we kind of increase, we stick with where you are, so you never go backwards, or we build on and we increase what you're capable of as the time passes. Also, just to come back to kind of cycling, we have a lot of, especially of inner city clients who cycle to and from work. And again, this is a stick or twist. If you know that you cycle 4 miles to and from work every day, and that takes you somewhere in the region of half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, all we ask is that you maintain this. Or if you can increase this, go a slightly longer way around, that adds 5 minutes, great, but you don't need to. You just stick where you are. Emma, do you want to talk about NEAT at all, non-exercise activity?
I'll just say that if you line bike to work, that does not count.
I mean, that's activity to me. I'm happy with that. Oh, you mean with the thing on? Yeah.
Come on, it's not fine. Boris bike?
Nothing
fine.
with a motor.
Yeah, like because I did a lot of line biking in the summer, and I have to say it does almost nothing. Like you're burning probably less. Well, actually, I would say a significantly less calories than walking, so that doesn't count. But anything else, like movement-wise, for sure, that counts. I'm also a runner now, babe. Have you seen?
Yeah, I've seen.
I did one 5K.
I saw.
Yeah, that's all on NEAT, I think.
Emma's a runner now. Let's move on. Okay.
Let's move on. It's all about me. Right, workouts.
Okay, so when it comes to workouts, your non-negotiables, day 1 to day 10, is we want you, especially day 1, specifically day 1 here, we want you to do one targeted workout or kind of exercise activity, okay? So this could be 20 minutes at home. It could be 20 minutes at the gym. It could be a circuit class that you do live on YouTube. It could be a circuit class at your local park. It could be Blaze at David Lloyd. It could be you going into the gym and doing some resistance training. We don't care if it's 20 minutes or 60 minutes. We want day 1 you to get a workout. Now, we do not need you to train every day. It's not great for recovery. You're going to get pretty bored of it. You're going to throw in the towel. But our golden rule like especially in days 1 to 10, let's just say that you never go 2 days in a row without working out. So if you know that you last worked out the day before yesterday, congratulations, tomorrow's your next workout. And again, we are implementing a stick or twist mindset here. So maybe try workout every other day instead of every 2 days. If you realize, 6 days in that's what you've been doing, let's try and increase it to every other day. Or maybe instead of doing 20 minutes at home, you do 30 minutes at home. Or maybe instead of doing 30 minutes at the gym, you do 40 minutes at the gym. We stick or twist. We maintain. We do not go backwards. And every opportunity you have to add even 5 minutes to a workout, or even 500 steps to your daily step count, you believe in yourself, you push yourself, and you do it. Emma, do you have anything else to add on non-negotiable workouts?
Have you seen that trend on TikTok that's like, we listen and we don't judge?
No.
But
I'm not on
reminded me,
TikTok. I'm 37.
Oh, do you know what? The only reason I got TikTok, and this has been a big waste of time for me, although I'm heartbroken, so I can waste my time with crap, right? The only reason I got it, whole box of protein bars, $8.99. Now I know you get
on TikTok.
Yeah, on like TikTok shop, $8.99 for like a whole. That's why I downloaded it, to buy that, and then I got distracted. But anyway, it reminded me of you being like, "We stick or we twist." There's no negotiable. What did I have to add on workouts?
Tell us another story.
I have no useful. Clearly, I was really listening and thinking about that. No, I think actually one of the other reasons that I quite like the never miss 2 days in a row, and because I have like this weird tendency to have to make everything make sense, right, is that insulin sensitivity stays elevated for 48 hours.
Yeah.
Now, I just like to be very insulin sensitive, it's the kind of person that I am, but it does make me think, like, from like a metabolic health perspective, if you can train every other day and you can stimulate those muscles every other day, that does have a big impact. So if you're thinking of one more reason to do it, because I know it's so easy to get stuck in this perfectionist mindset of like, I said to do 3 workouts a week, I'm not going to fit them in this week, so there's no point doing them at all. But if you're like, okay, but for my metabolic health, even doing something, it doesn't have to be a 60-minute workout, it could just be a 20-minute workout that you're stimulating those muscles, that's going to make a big difference. So that's all I have to add.
Completely agree. And that applies to steps as well, guys. Like hitting your step count every day, especially if you're doing it after meals, postprandial walking, we are going to see that kind of response happen as well. But we need to kind of keep on top of that on a daily basis. Whereas Emma said with workouts, we can do this every other day, but I really wouldn't go longer than 2 days without a workout. Just quickly, for those of you who are kind of training for the first time, or you've had a long break, you are going to get DOMS, you are going to get delayed onset muscle soreness. We promise you go in the gym and you scream your way through a warm-up stretch routine, and the first set of your exercise feels uncomfortable. By the second set, after that warm-up, those DOMS will completely dissipate and you will complete your workout. Then they're going to get worse again, but hey, you got your workout in. It's not dangerous to train with DOMS at all. It's just your muscles are now stimulated and they're responding to that stimulus for the first time after a break, or for the first time ever. It's really important that we keep on top of it, and stretching will really help.
Okay. Just one thing on that, because I got such, not to just go on about my running career now, but after that first 5K, I can't tell you the DOMS I had, the weirdest place, like in my groin.
Yeah.
Just in my groin, like nowhere, no, not calf, not like legs or anything, just like specifically in my groin, and it's still quite bad today, and that was like 3 or 4 days ago. So the point is, it's like, it's new. I don't run, right? So like any novel exercise, I'd say I'm generally quite fit, and I do, as much as I don't train legs that much, I do still train legs, like, but it's the new stimulus that's causing this. So if you're someone who's not trained over Christmas or hasn't done much resistance training, it will be sore, but the only way to work through that is to make it something that your body is used to, and the only way to do that is to continue to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about nutrition. Now we've got activity nailed. We've got your non-exercise activity, which is really important for your metabolic health, but also for your physique results and your mental health, believe it or not. We've also nailed workouts, obviously very important for your health and fitness, but also your physique results. If you want to quote unquote look better, there's no shame in that. Emma and I are not part of this social media zeitgeist that you shouldn't care how you look. It's like, the beauty industry, the health and fitness industry, the fashion industry. These are all multi-billion-pound international industries. And shock horror, they cater to women who care about how they look. And sometimes it's better dancing with the devil, you know. The difference between the health and fitness industry and fashion and beauty is that this is actually going to have huge implications on your quality of life and your quantity of life. So why not? Okay, after that little rant, let's move on to nutrition. So this is going to look different for all of you again. So I kind of want to caveat this with, like, this is going to be quite watercolor depending on who we're talking to. But ideally, we want you guys to get in a breakfast, or if you skip breakfast because you train, then you've got work, you've got the kids, fine. A breakfast or a brunch or a lunch, a dinner, and a fourth meal or snack. So really 3 to 4 servings a day of food. Okay, like I say, it could be breakfast or brunch, it could be brunch or lunch, it could be dinner, it could be a fourth meal or a snack. So we want you to get 3 to 4 servings a day of food, and we want every single one of them to include a serving of protein and a serving of fruit or veg. As an example, if you are really strapped for time in the morning, then let's just say you grab a protein shake before you leave the gym and a piece of fruit. Done. Let's say that you don't eat at all until it's your lunchtime and you work in an office that's adjacent to a Pret. You go into Pret and you get their Italian chicken salad, which is the bomb, by the way. And if you wanted, because that's not actually going to have that many calories, you could get an additional something, a protein bar, a piece of fruit. And then let's say you're having dinner, you cook a massive chili con carne with 5% beef mince. We do kind of like people to keep their protein on the lean side of things. Again, not just for internal health, but also because it literally slashes the calories in half and you're not actually giving up any food. You're just choosing a lower fat protein option. So 5% beef meats. If you are doing chili con carne, which I highly recommend at this time of year, that's like just example ideas of kind of my diet and what that might look like. Also, I don't want anyone to read this and be like, I don't know what a protein is. I don't know how to get my fruit and veg in every meal. If you sign up to the EC method, then we will give you a intro to nutrition file, which will have a food Bible of protein, fats, carbs, all listed, and serving amounts, a example meal plan of how to make up your daily meals and example recipes. And then of course, on top of that, we have, next slide, please. If you track or you are, kind of intentional and being calorically aware, and you are here for fat loss, which we're not even going to pretend 90% of our clients are there for fat loss or some kind of physique goal, we will give you numbers to hit. We would like, if you are under 70 kg, a bracket, and we work on brackets, and I'll let Emma talk about why at the end of this. If you are under 70 kgs, a nice bracket of 1,500 calories to 1,700 calories. Of course, if you hit 1,400 and you're not hungry at the end of the day, that's fine. But we want you to stay near enough this range, either side of it, ideally inside of it. And if you are over 70 kgs, a nice range of 1,700 to 1,900. This is for people who track, under 70 kg, over 70 kg, who are here for fat loss specifically. Emma, would you like to elaborate a little bit on how we came up with these numbers and why we like range targets?
Yeah, people get really specific with their calorie targets, thinking that it's like the magic behind things. It's not. Like the vast majority of women do exceptionally well on these ranges. Range targets work significantly better for various reasons. One, they stop you giving up when you've gone like 2 calories over your target. 2, they give you a bit of flexibility within that, and you can push yourself when you want, right? So you could be like, I don't know, I'm going out for dinner tonight, so I'm going to stick to more the 1,700 calorie range. And hey, tomorrow I don't have as much on, and I really want to lose fat this week, or I really want to be like on it this week, and I'd like to see faster progress. Okay, if you want to see faster progress, stick to the lower side of that target, but you've still got like the range there if you get really hungry. And then finally, people are so specific about calorie numbers, not realizing the wildly inaccurate method that is calorie tracking. Like, even if you think, oh, I stick to 1,600 calories every single day. No, you don't. Like, you do not. Nobody does. And it's not even a fault of your own. It's like, even the packaging on calories is different. The caloric availability of food is different. Like, there are so many things that come into it. So a range works significantly better. And I know that some people might be listening to this and being like, God, that sounds a little bit like too easy just to stick to this range. Your calorie target isn't the hard bit. It's having a system that allows you to stick to it consistently without feeling like you're restricting yourself. And you can do that long term enough to create a significant enough deficit to lose the fat that you want to lose. That's the hard part. Like, you could do that on 1,500 calories or 1,700 calories. There's not like a magic number for you. And that's where a lot of these kind of like apps and things go wrong, because then it kind of sets you up for failure. So these ranges work really, really well.
Yeah, here. Okay, again, the next one, and I just want to be clear here that this is an intentional coaching pointer. It's not something that we necessarily think everybody's going to have 100% success rate with day one, but we want you to have 100% intent on day one. And this is your intent to improve your sleep hygiene. As the mother of a 2-year-old who is currently in a sleep regression, I understand some of you might be like, fuck off. But we, like I say, we want the intent to be there. So kind of considerations here would include caffeine intake. So I know that if I have caffeine kind of after, I would say 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I might struggle a bit. So I really try and cap it by 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done. Caffeine intake. Another one would be meal timing. Now, we do actually find anecdotally here that all clients are different. Some people will find that if they eat, especially if they're on the leaner side or they have a higher activity rating, so like they train really hard in the gym for an hour and a half every day, and or they're training for a marathon, actually eating closer to bedtime will find that they actually get through a full night's sleep better. A lot of people, especially if they have a significant amount of body fat to lose, will find that actually kind of entering a fast an hour or two before bed means that they sleep better. So figure out where you sit on that and have a little experiment in these first few days. Targeted sleep wake time. Not only does it apply to babies and toddlers, it applies to adults as well. Really trying to go to bed around the same time every night and wake up around the same time every morning is going to have huge implications on how well you sleep and the pattern of sleep that you get into. If you're like, yeah, but I keep going to bed at midnight because I've kind of got used to that now. My circadian rhythm is really adapted to that now. That's okay. Let's just try and move it forward 10 to 15 minutes at a time over the first, few couple weeks, right? So hopefully then by week 3 or 4, which is halfway through one of our rounds, week 4, instead of going to bed at midnight, you're going to bed at 11:30, 11:15, and we can keep doing that. And what we'll tend to find happens is that your wake time will start coming earlier too. It's not going to happen immediately. It's a targeted effort, like everything in life. Lighting, we all know about lighting. Blue light not being on your phone at 11:30 at night, expecting that 11:45 you're going to drop off, probably not going to happen. Put the phones down. Am I the only person that really gets a kick out of my phone running out of battery? I'm like, bye world. It's the best thing in the world. Like, Emma and I, as you'll all know, like, we're online coaches. We're promoting the Round on the EC method. We spend a lot of time on our phones. I have a really specific time when I'm off my phone at night, and I really kind of accredit that to me being able to wind down and not spending pretty much 24 hours a day in a really anxious state. And temperature, again, this is different for everyone. It's fair to say that most adults will find that they'll sleep better in a slightly cooler room than a slightly warmer room. Again, it kind of depends on how lean you are, how much body fat you have to lose, but it's something that we definitely recommend you guys play around with and figure out. Last point on this, and I'm repeating myself, I've already said it, guys, it's not so much that we think you're going to be able to nail this in a month, let alone a week, but we want the intent there, because what we might find is that even if you get slightly better sleep or half an hour more, it's going to make all the difference in the world to you long term. So we just really want you to try. Emma, do you have anything to add on sleep hygiene?
No, but I will say just broadly, like these first 10 days, one of the reasons we want you to do this is because if you do this and you commit to it, you will see results within 10 days and you will feel results within 10 days, right? I think a lot of people try this stuff. Oh yeah, I went to bed early for 2 nights and didn't even notice any difference, so I'm not going to bother doing it. Or like, oh, I managed like 2 days in a row of this and then I kind of gave up on it. 10 days isn't a long period of time, but it's going to make you feel significantly different. And that's what gives you the motivation to keep going. There's nothing more motivating than actually seeing and feeling the results of the effort that you're putting in. Right. But let's quickly move on because we're
running out of time. Right, caps. Of course, there are caps here. We're not expecting you to start out doing 3 workouts a week and in week 2 that you're doing, 7 workouts a week. We want 3 to 6 workouts per week, minimum to maximum target. 8 to 15K steps a week, minimum to maximum target. Unless, of course, you're like a dog walker and it's very organic and natural for you that you hit 20,000 steps a day, that's fine. We mean in terms of targeted effort here. If you're hitting 15,000 and you're kind of struggling just to maintain that, stop. And also to stay in your set calorie range there or thereabouts. Now, obviously, like I said before, if you're hitting a few 100 calories under, that's fine. If you're hitting 50 calories over, fine. But we really want the effort and the intent there to stay in this range. So stick or twist, basically, in a nutshell. You stick with your day one achievements until the very end, and ideally you push yourself to twist and increase them even just by like 5 minutes, 500 steps, giving all the quality street to your colleagues at work, getting it out the house so you don't have any. We just want kind of conscious, intentional daily efforts to do the best you can do, and we will hold you accountable to this. Okay, we're not savage coaches, but we're also not messing around. We want to see you all succeed. Emma.
Yes, and we're going to be doing it too.
Yes. Oh God, yeah.
So
I kind of already am. I've been doing it since the day after Boxing Day, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I have actually got way more into training since about Boxing Day as well, and actually since whenever I got back to London, and I feel so much better for it. Anyway, what we do realize is that like everyone has a life, right? And stuff happens and kids get unwell or a car breaks down or something, right? So there will, or maybe there might become a day during that 10 days that you're like, oh, I need to get in 10,000 steps there and I haven't managed to do it. Oh, I've ruined the whole 10 days. What do I do now? No. The rule is never miss two, right? So this kind of gives you a get out of jail card that of like, okay, if shit hits the fan and you can't do it, don't give up. Yeah. That's the reason that people don't get results. That's the reason people don't, reach their New Year's resolutions or finally achieve their results. It's not because they're perfect all the time. It's because they use not being perfect as an excuse to give up. So this kind of takes that excuse away. And the reason I really like the psychology of this is that normally when you miss a day, you feel really unmotivated. This flips it on its head and does the exact opposite, right? So when you miss a day, you're like, shit, I have to get in tomorrow. I have to make sure I do this tomorrow, because the rule is to never miss two. So if like the whole point is that you nail every day, like it's 10 days, you can commit to it. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve. And like we say, like we want this to kind of like scare you and push you a little bit. That's the whole point of it. But also we have to be realistic, and we don't want you to like basically have a reason to give up because you missed one day. So the rule is never miss two. If you're like, I really want to commit to this and I really want to do it, and you do miss a day, add a day on at the end. Fine. Okay, we're gonna just briefly touch on phase 2 because that's basically our normal coaching ethos.
So don't worry guys, we do not expect you to stick to this medium term, let alone long term. This is a short term approach of really showing you all and proving to you all what you're capable of. And we're not kind of, getting ahead of ourselves there. We've been doing this for a long time. In the last 5 years alone, we've coached over 12,000 women. We know what you're capable of. It's you that don't know what you're capable of. We're here to show you and prove to you that we're right and you're wrong. Like the Mrs. Trunchbull one would suggest. What we want you to do as time goes on is to realize, holy shit, I am actually doing this. Even if you're just sticking with your day one commitment, even that is a win. And God forbid that you twist, actually being like, oh my God, I am capable of a lot more than I thought I was the day before I started this. And what we really want you to do is back yourself, champion yourself, be behind yourself every step of the way. Like I said earlier, me and Emma are never not scared, but we do it anyway. And it's because we've built that self-belief and we've pushed for it and we've worked for it. And you can do exactly the same thing. We want you to reassess, okay, at the end of 10 days, what was easy? Wow, okay, maybe I can improve on that. What was difficult? Well, okay, maybe I need to pull that back. I can't get to the gym 6 days a week at 6 a.m. Fine. Where do we find that sweet spot for you? And I promise you, as your coaches, every step of the way and beyond, we've got your back and we will help you. Emma.
Yeah, just because I think it's such an important point. Like when I've not been scared about something for a while, I'm like, you're not doing it. Like that's such a good sign. If you're so comfortable in your life that you're like, yeah, everything's just like mundane, boring, same. I'm not like excited or scared or whatever. Like you should be a little bit now and again. So yeah, we're excited for this. I'm going to give you a little pep talk because I've spoken to a lot of people, and there's even some people in the chat here that are like a little bit apprehensive or on the fence about this. So I want to remind you of a few things. The first one being, it's not going to be easy later. or it's not going to be easier later. And it's probably only going to get harder the longer that you leave this, right? If you know that you want to do something, you know you want to make a change, you know you want to feel better, you know you want to maybe, like Chloe said, let's be honest, most people that come, at least initially, have a fat loss goal, you know you want to make those changes, then like now is the time to do it, because it's certainly not going to be easier later. But this time is going to be different because you're going to be supported, because you've got us, because, and again, even look through that chat, there's so many EC members in there already championing each other. But you've got us backing you as well. And you have to go into this with the mindset of, this time I'm going to make it different. This time I'm going to commit to it. This time I'm going to reach out if I need help. And I hope that the next few slides kind of like light a bit of a fire up your ass and like push you to take some action and back yourself a bit here. This is something I thought about for a while. The reasons that people procrastinate, and by the way, that includes us as well. So all of us are guilty of putting things off. And it's often because you've convinced yourself that it's going to be harder than what it is. And I think this is especially true with fat loss. Like, partly because of diets that have set you up to fail in the past, diets that have had you on ridiculously low calories, some preconceived notion that you need to go to the gym every day or do excessive amounts of cardio, or you can't eat carbs, or you can never eat out with your partner, or you have to give up alcohol or something. So you have this idea in your head that it's not something that you can stick to. Sometimes it's that you've convinced yourself that there's going to be a better time, that's like magically going to occur. The likelihood is that isn't going to happen. Life is short. If you want to make a change, make it now. The other reason is like you're trying to keep yourself safe, right? Because even if you're unhappy in the body that you're in at the moment, you're used to it. Like, it's comfort, it's the norm for you. So sometimes there's an element of keeping yourself safe. Sometimes it's to avoid judgment from others or what other people will think. Sometimes it's to avoid failure, like rejection, uncertainty. Failure is a huge one because a lot of people have tried dieting before and it hasn't worked for them. And when you delve into this a little bit, and I always find the psychology of it quite interesting, because from an outside perspective, some people often say like, well, you know, you could just try, and if you fail, then you're just in the same position you're in. And people who say that don't really understand what failure feels like internally, because that's not what I'd be afraid of. You know, I'm not afraid of, like, I don't know, trying to run a marathon and then not being able to run it. Okay, well, then I'm just in the same position I was, still not being able to run a marathon. That's fine. I'm afraid of how I will feel about myself if I say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it, right? If I say again, I'm going to try this fat loss thing, I'm really going to commit to it, and then I let myself down. That's the part of failure that people are scared of. So that's a big thing. That's one of the big reasons that people don't like fully realize why they're kind of holding themselves back there.
Yeah.
Another reason is that the discomfort of change, or people believe that the discomfort of change is going to be worse than staying where they are. And it's just simply not true. And actually, the way that we coach, the fun that Chloe and I have, like, whenever we're together, whenever we're coaching our clients, like the banter that we have, like, it's meant to be fun. You know, like, there is going to be an element of hard work for sure, but like, we need to share this video because there's a really funny video that I just got from Malcolm of like me finishing a drop set, and you're like, oh my God, well done, you've done amazing. And I'm like, I've got it.
Yeah, I've got it.
It's so funny. But anyway, the point is, it's like, you have a laugh, right? You're working really hard, but you're having a laugh at the same time. I've already spoken about fear of failure. And then the other reason that people procrastinate, and I'm about to come onto a quote that I love because it just, like, it's not from me, but it's just so good. But it's this thought that there's always going to be a tomorrow. And like, the scary thing is, like, there isn't. And you will regret not making these changes now. And you will regret not taking advantage of your life now that you can, when you are healthy, when you have, you know, got the ability to do this stuff. And the quote that I love that's from Ryan Holiday is, to procrastinate is to be entitled. It is arrogant. It assumes that there will be later. It assumes that you'll have the discipline to do it later, despite the fact that you don't have the discipline to do it now. Now, that's the part that's like a bit tough love and calls you out. But I just think it's so good. And I use this myself, like, to call myself out. It's like, why do you think that you're going to do that tomorrow if you won't do it today? Why do you think that you'll suddenly have motivation in 3 weeks' time when you're not doing it now?
I think, do you know what's funny about this quote? I would replace words like entitled and arrogant. And of course, we all have a different lens with which we view procrastination. With fear, again, It's like a fear that it's something that you're almost scared of. So if you don't do it, it'll go away. And the fact of the matter is, like, I don't like paying my taxes. I procrastinate until literally the last day that I have to pay them. It's not going away. In the end, I'm going to have to pay them anyway. There is quite a freeing, I should say, result psychologically of just doing it before you absolutely have to. Speaking as someone who already paid their taxes last week when I don't have to till the end of January, there is quite a thing of like, hey, I accept that this isn't going anywhere and I'm just going to get it done. And in your head, you kind of feel like, again, much like we were talking about me feeling anxious before I do a back squat, a barbell back squat. Once I've done it, I'm like, oh no, I can do this. Oh no, I am capable. And the same thing applies to that fear of everything that you're scared of. Once you do it, the self-belief that you feel and that you kind of grow on immediately, and the more you keep doing it, the more it grows. It's life-changing, utterly life-changing. Okay, next one.
Yeah, there's like a quote as well. I love a cheesy quote, right? Obviously. Literally just like my whole notes to fill them. But there's a quote that's like, your results are on the other side of fear. And it's normally so true. And there's another one that's something like, if you don't know what you want to do, look at what you're most scared of doing.
Yeah.
And that's normally the right answer. And you're just like, oh, it's so annoyingly true. But anyway, this is also true. No one ever made progress waiting for the right time. And the final quote I will give is that there are people out there with the results that you want, and it's not because they are, have these incredible genetics or that they just got there by luck. Like, they took imperfect action. They didn't wait for the perfect time. They decided that now was the time that they were going to take action instead of waiting to feel ready, because probably never going to happen. It's never going to happen that you feel completely ready to do something. And they aren't more talented, and they aren't more capable, and they aren't genetically blessed. A lot of them have a lot more barriers up. We've had some of the most incredible women on the EC method who have not just barriers, but like legitimate excuses, like disabled children that they have to look after the whole time, and they're traveling hours and hours and hours to appointments, breast cancer, like some of the most like absolutely inspiring and incredible women that are like, I still want to get it done. This is what I'm going to do. I've decided that now's the right time, and I'm backing myself. And like, that to us as coaches is like the most inspiring thing ever. But sometimes just that realization, I don't think they realize the impact they have on the rest of the group. Because some days, and everyone gets this kind of victim mentality now and again. I do some days too. It's like, oh, woe is me. It's so hard. I had a long train journey and I'm a bit tired and whatever. And then you go on the group and you see someone else that's like nailing it, despite the fact that actually they technically do have like a lot more barriers up than you do. Or and you're just like, wow, do you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. And that.
And that just to also caveat this, again, we have so many clients, and Emma's everything she said is right, with likely more barriers than most of us have. We all have woe is me days. Nobody ever judges anybody. Everybody always supports everybody. Mental health battles are very valid. And we also have a lot of people in the group, including trained psychologists and doctors. And I mean,
there's Polly here.
Is Polly here?
I also love when Polly's like, totally agree with you guys. I'm like, yes,
the therapist said we're right. But we have people in there who are like, nobody's there to judge you. It's like, okay. And actually we have, I don't really want to go too far into it because I think it's not really appropriate on a webinar. If you join the group, I think you're going to be amazed at how many people are there to support each other and help each other. And I think a lot of people initially are almost put off by a group mentality, but when they join, they're like, yeah, thanks, Emma and Chloe, but the group changed my life. And it's like, oh, wow. And they initially will be like, I kind of didn't want to join because of the group. And it's just, you look at like the best, kind of the most successful diets en masse in the world, and they are things like Weight Watchers, and they are things like, what's the other one, Emma? Slimming World. And it's like, why? They're kind of shit diets. And it's because that group community aspect, which I think a lot of women, again, like I say, might be fearful of or kind of hesitant with initially, but weirdly it kind of works, like kind of works wonders.
There's so much research behind that as well, and surrounding yourself with people that are doing similar things, especially if you're someone who's like, most of my friends drink every weekend, smoke, they don't exercise, or like they're feeders, or my partner's not interested in it. And it's like, okay, but we are. we're excited that you got to the gym on the first, on this day, or we're excited that you're doing this, or we're going to help with the recipe ideas. Don't worry, I won't post any of my own. Yeah.
Emma microwaving eggs and peas and putting. Are you insane, Emma? Don't nobody follow Emma for food tips.
Yes, can guarantee. Oh, by the way, do you know the issue that was with the broth is that I thought you were just meant to soak it. You're meant to soak it and then cook it.
Emma, whatever you did with that bowl of food last night made me gag in my mouth. Just
do you know what? Katie said the same. She was like, "I love you," but
no.
That actually made me feel quite sick just looking at it. I was like, okay, sorry.
Anyway, let's move on to the last slide.
So the last slide is basically you should sign up to the EC method. That QR code will take you there, or you can go to the ecmethod.co.uk. We start on Monday, so get signed up. The group will open over the weekend. You'll have everything you need to get ready. You'll have everything you need to ask us any questions about the first 10 days, getting excited about it, getting locked in, knowing exactly what you're doing, having all the information, all the files that you can work through. So the sooner you get set up, get signed up, the better, really.
Is there something on Hazel's head there? She's got like a big black spot in the middle of her head. I can't figure out if it's my laptop.
Oh, no, sorry. That was me. I removed the background. And apparently part of Hazel's head was the background.
Yeah, guys, honestly, we would love to have you. Like we said, the January round's going to be a bit different. It's a lot less kind of balanced. I said this again in the podcast. Everybody go listen to the last 2 or 3 episodes of the EC Method podcast as well. We've completely changed our recording strategy. So if you've been listening and it's been a bit crap, so you stopped, it's much better now. We've done 2 or 3 brilliant topic podcasts in the last few weeks on Christmas, on New Year's, on myth busting. They sound great. They're great content. And we talk a lot about our coaching ethos there. We do say that we kind of try and marry in and plait in all the moving parts of our clients' lives to achieve the health and fitness and physique goals over time and get them the results they want and keep them the results they want. But then in January, we need to do a bit more of a push. We've all got a little bit comfortable. We've all got a little bit overindulgent, and that's great. That's fine. That's what Christmas is about. But we're your coaches and you're paying us for a reason, and we're here to push you. And also, I think our prices are probably the most competitive that I've come across recently. So if you want to try out coaching, this is the perfect time for you to try it and see if it's for you. Emma, do you want to answer a couple of questions before we go? I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, let me just go over some.
I'll let you pick a couple and then we can call it quits.
Okay, not signed up yet, feeling miserable and scared to fail on exercise paper with workouts. Oh, the exercise part of the program, I think is what that's meant to say. Guys, when we say that we meet you where you are and we push you outside your comfort zone, we're not joking there. There are people that do a full round without even looking at the workouts, but the impact that has on their life, if they're going from doing nothing to getting their steps in, to getting their nutrition in a bit more order, and then the next round they're like, now I'm going to add in workouts. Like, this isn't a race. Like, this is the rest of your life, and it's you versus the version of you that isn't doing anything. And you're going to be lapping that person. So if you're like a bit scared about the workouts, okay, let's do the first couple of weeks without doing any workouts, but let's nail your steps. Let's get you doing a morning routine, and let's look at your nutrition. Okay,
yeah,
let's make positive changes. Then we build on that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we go in day 1 with 1 workout. And like I said on the slide, this can be 20 minutes. And the goal isn't, we stick or twist in these first 10 days. If you stick to 1 workout and you do 2 in these 10 days, and that's better than the week you had before you joined the round, well done. You've improved. And that's all we want. Start, stick, or improve. So we're not asking you guys to do crazy gym workouts 7 days a week. So please don't think that.
Yeah. I suffer with chronic fatigue syndrome. Can I still do this? Yes, absolutely. We just need to be a little bit more careful with how much you're pushing yourself. But we've worked with a lot of clients with chronic fatigue syndrome or cancer-related fatigue, or going through some kind of treatment. So yes, that is absolutely manageable. Okay, someone here. Can we start on a lower calorie bracket? My weight loss was incredibly low at 15 to... So what we normally do is, if someone wants to do that, like, tag us in the group first, let us know your stats, because there are some smaller women that might, want to drop their calories a little bit. What's normally the case is that you've not actually been sticking to the lower calories. And when we bring people up, they're like, oh, holy shit, I can lose on 1500 calories and not be miserable and have a life. And this is way more maintainable. And when you zoom out over time, you've actually created a significantly bigger deficit and lost more weight. So I want to know if you actually need to drop your calories or not, is basically the crux of that.
Yeah, also, like, just to touch on it, that a lot of people, I'm not saying this is that client or potential client, a lot of people think that the only thing that matters is the calories in part of the equation. It is a calorie balance act here, and a lot of people are doing that without necessarily tracking their steps, or kind of sticking to one workout a week instead of maybe aiming to do 3, 4, 5 a week. There is also an expenditure part of that, so it might be that once we increase your steps, you find that balances out a little bit more in your favor and you do start to lose. But yeah, what we do is when we have a Facebook group, you tag Emma and I every day if you need us, and you say, hey, I'm actually like 4 foot nothing, I can't really lose that quickly on 1600 calories, can I come down to 1400? And we have a conversation with you. Like we say, we meet you where you are. Okay, so everybody is different, every client is different, and all you have to do if you think that you're an outlier is tag us and we'll steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, same if you're like, oh, I'm training for an ultra marathon or something. It's like, okay, well, clearly, like, we need to look at your expenditure and make sure that your calories match up to that.
Yeah.
Do you have to weigh yourself? I hate scales. Nope, you don't have to. It's extra data. If you have specifically a weight loss goal, then it's like pretty good extra data. But you absolutely don't have to do that. And you can do it off gym performance. You can do it off how your clothes fit. You can do it off progress photos. You can do it off measurements. Or you might be like, I don't really care about any of those things. I just want to get fitter and healthier. Okay, cool. That's fine as well. I'm in full menopause. Can this help with this? Yes. And that is exactly what I specialize in. So you're in very good hands. And I'd say probably about half the group are peri or postmenopausal.
Definitely.
Yeah. What if I need you both for 2 different reasons?
Well, I would say I don't know if I'm interpreting this right, but I would say that Emma and I specialize in completely different things. So for example, she specializes in like menopause, I'm pre and postnatal qualified. We obviously both have had or do currently have physique goals, which is kind of muscle mass, hypertrophy, fat loss. And obviously, I have a child, and Emma has 5 other businesses, and we apply to I drink, Emma doesn't drink. We apply to different clients for different reasons, and that's kind of why we work so well together and why we have such a big, varied, beautiful watercolor client base on the EC method that's absolutely brilliant, and we all complement each other perfectly. So if you feel like Emma's more appropriate for you for one reason and I'm more appropriate or less for another reason, and vice versa, welcome to the club. Like, that's the beauty of having 2 different coaches.
Yeah, you've got both of our expertise, but often what we'll do as well is if someone's like, I don't know, asking about something pre and postnatal and they've tagged me instead of Chloe or something, I'm just like, I'm just going to let Chloe answer this because that's what she's the best. There's no point me answering it when I've got you there to use. So, or we've all got you there to utilize. So yeah, like, that's the benefit of having both of us. But also, like, we're all here to support you. Like, and it's not like you have to ask one of us, but like, it's team coaching. You get both of us, we're both in the group. Most people tag both of us. It's just one of us will answer depending on expertise. But you can talk to both of us, like, if that's what you mean. Yeah. I've loved this and can absolutely commit to the first 10 days, but then I'm away for 5 weeks on an event in South America where routine and healthy eating will be really difficult to maintain. Should I wait till I'm back before signing up? No. But we get I mean, like, everyone goes on holiday, everyone has a life, everyone's going through something. I've already spoken about people going through like cancer treatment or divorce, or there's always something going on, but your health is always important. And yes, that will look different, and maybe you start doing the home workouts, or maybe we've had people that like work on cruise ships and they're like, I can only eat the food on the cruise ship and I don't know how many calories are in it, and we're like, okay, cool, let's look at this, let's look at your portion sizes. Yeah, like, exactly, what can we do? So
yeah, I would say the majority of our testimonials that we get at the end of every round is like, I've gone on 2 holidays, I had a wedding, I had my anniversary. Like, everybody always includes the things that they come into it thinking or have always thought their whole life are going to be some like massive hurdle. And then at the end of it, they're like, and I still lost 10 kgs. And it's like, wow, okay, like it's not so much that we want everybody to be optimal all the time. We know that's completely unrealistic and it's never going to happen. The constant question you need to boomerang back to is, okay, but what can I do? Okay, but what can I do? And more often than not, you will find that what you can do is enough to get you the results or maintain the results you've currently got. You don't always, like I said in the very beginning about row sail, we can't always row all the time with work, with family, with anything. There are going to be periods of your life where you have to sail, but you can sail and maintain your position without necessarily going backwards.
Agree. Right, let's do one more. I want to join for body comp, already done it before to lose weight, but now I want to improve and get leaner, more muscle. But I'm doing the London Marathon. Starts now. Not sure if I can combine both or wait till it's over.
I think it's more important now more than ever if you're marathon training and you've got muscle building or body composition goals, that you make sure that you have some guidance in terms of your calorie intake, your protein intake, especially if you're doing a marathon and you have muscle mass goals, your meal timing, sleep and recovery, rest days, how to kind of basically how to balance out marathon training with weightlifting to maintain or grow muscle mass, and meal timing and rest days optimally so that you have a better marathon and you don't sacrifice any muscle mass in getting there. You won't be our first marathon participant with physique goals, and you won't be our last.
Agree. I think this is a nice one to read to like round stuff off. Although, Debbie, this question about C-section, yes, Chloe can absolutely help you with that. And she's breastfeeding. And again, yes, Chloe can absolutely help you. Not with the physical breastfeeding, but with like managing your nutrition and making sure that that you're doing everything right. Okay, so I need to jump off now, but thank you so much for doing this. You are both awesome, and anyone that is still undecided about joining, do it. You won't regret it. EC has completely changed my mindset and approach to nutrition and exercise and made me a better and happier person for it. And that's really like the impact that we want to have. It's not just about you losing a bit of fat. It's about you feeling better about yourself. It's about you having a healthier life. It's about you being a role model to the people around you. Like, one of the things we love the most is when people are like getting their kids to exercise or their kids being able to see them, you know, being a role model in terms of like looking after their health. So yes.
Yeah, and also just to be clear, we maybe talk a good game. Emma and I hate promoting our coaching. It makes us cringe and die inside. Like it doesn't sit very well with us. The reason that we talk with such ego and confidence is because of like what Sarah just said. And if you look on our social media pages, other client testimonials are like, actually, we can help and we do help, and we should probably keep doing this. It feels great. And obviously we're doing what we love. We want to help women. We love watching everybody thrive in the group with each other. It's really like Sarah's message just there. It makes me feel good. Like it makes us feel good. And you guys will get that too. So, you know, as much as we kind of cringe and die inside, we do love it. And we know our clients love it. And we're going to be here for a good few years yet, hopefully. So yeah, look, guys.
Just on that as well, because obviously we're going to say it's good, right? As much as we kind of hate promoting it, like we're still going to say it's good. But there are so many grads in here like watching, and there are so many on our social media. If you go and look at the comment sections and things, like we're so transparent. We're like any of them, I'm sure if you message them and you're like, I'm not sure about signing up, what's it like, from someone who's actually done it, like go message them. They're all like incredible and we can't thank you enough. But you're like, you know, the biggest supporters, the biggest fans, like it's coming from people that have actually done the program. So if you're unsure about things, like do that, reach out to people.
Yes, definitely do. I need to tag actually in my last post everyone apart from the pre and postnatal client who wants to remain anonymous, so that you have the opportunity to do that. Right, guys, if you want to sign up, we would love to have you. The QR code is on the page. It's the ecmethod.co.uk. Feel free to DM Emma and I or any of our clients that you find on here or on the page for any questions. And we start, I think the welcome live is on Sunday. And we start properly Monday.
All right. Thanks all. Bye.
Bye, guys. Happy New Year.